So the first two movies this year were a little on the topical side and also resulted in episodes a bit on the longer side. Okay, so let's try a slight pivot into the exact opposite of both things. A Hong Kong movie from 1992 about space cats and evil mushrooms that clocks in at just under 85 minutes, many of which involve things that are more fun to just show you without much context than spend a lot of time setting up, like this happening. Ah, yeah, that's the stuff. Okay, so for longtime fans, this might already feel strangely familiar, so let's get that right out of the way. 1992's Wisely Lao Mao, or The Cat, alternately known as and/or translated as The Old Cat, Wisely's Old Cat, or The 1000 Years Cat, is a Hong Kong horror sci-fi action detective pulp thriller from certified SCHLOCKTOBER MVP filmmaker Lam Ni Kuang, director of The Seventh Curse, Peacock King, The Saga of the Phoenix, and The Story of Ricky.
No one man can do all that. You're a liar, honey. A dirty, rotten liar. Finish her!
And also movies we can't show you, basically any of on YouTube, because, well, sometimes they have titles like Erotic Ghost Story and star Amy Yip, so figure it out. Anyway, The Cat was Lam's last officially listed credit as director as of 1992, and essentially offers an opportunity for fans of immediate pre-New Wave Hong Kong genre cinema to see what it looks like when the filmmaker best known for movies with this general energy kinda sorta dials things back a little bit. Sci-fi! I said a little bit. In any case, as with The Seventh Curse, this is a loose adaptation of a book from the Wisely series, a 150-plus volume strong franchise of supernatural, science fiction, fantasy, adventure, mystery, etc. novels by prolific Hong Kong author and screenwriter Ni Kuang, who also was the screenwriter of Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury, The One-Armed Swordsman, Inframan, and at least 400 other movie scripts and some 300 books in the wuxia, martial arts, fantasy, and other genres, including the Dr. Yen series, which The Seventh Curse was derived from and shares continuity with the Wisely books, with Chow Yun-fat playing Wisely in that movie. If that all sounds a bit daunting, helpfully, at least for anyone trying to just watch the movies, there hasn't really been a meaningful attempt to adapt any kind of coherent Wisely and Dr. Yen cinematic universe for either film or television thus far, possibly in part because while the series is popular throughout East Asia, Ni Kuang, who died in 2022, being a vocal anti-communist and critic of the ruling Chinese government who lived for a time in the United States, has meant that his books and many works explicitly based on them have been infrequently banned or discouraged from availability in mainland China. Whatever the full reason, bottom line is Hong Kong producers tend to make Wisely or Yen projects one at a time, with different actors always playing the parts with no real continuity between the entries most of the time. I think there was a TV movie that had an immediate sequel, but that's pretty much it. To that end, Wisely, who is really known better for playing villains, so nice change-up, is Wisely this time, an adventure novelist and expert on the supernatural who, this is a running theme for the characters in the series, if you remember Dr. Yen and the Seventh Curse, is also of fabulous independent wealth who divides his time between having expensive exotic brunches with his friends, entertaining gorgeous women who drop by for a post-tennis nooner at his rooftop pool, and showing off his well-stocked bar of spirits and wines from around the world, and also consulting with the local police whenever crimes appear that seem to involve ghosts, monsters, aliens, really anything like that. To kick this one off, off, one of Wisely's friends thinks his upstairs neighbor, who moved out in a hurry, may have murdered someone because their apartment is full of body parts, but they're just cat body parts, so the police figure that's not really a priority investigation. Wisely, on the other hand, thinks, you know what, yeah, it could be nothing, but it also could be aliens. I'd better look into this.
不過講真啦，嗰隻貓同埋嗰個女仔啊，感覺上真係好似希臘神話裏邊嘅妖精咁㗎。我有好強烈嘅第六感，有啲朋友甚至因此懷疑我衛斯理係唔係地球人。我覺得少女同貓係外星嚟嘅，佢哋應該係善良，但係有善良必然帶嚟邪惡。
That just raises further questions!
And it turns out he's right, because later that evening, a space mushroom tries to rob a museum.
I'm sorry, will you please repeat that?
Yeah, this is one of those. Okay, so here's what's actually happening, and believe it or not, the movie in this case cuts to the chase and just tells us at it about the same pace I am. Basically, there's 3 aliens, they're more or less shapeshifters, 2 of them are in human form as an older guy and a young woman. The strongest one, called the General, is a cat. They're the good guys, the evil mushroom from space is called the Star Killer, and it's the bad guy, they're here to stop it. The relics at the museum are pieces of a magical MacGuffin. They have to assemble to power up the General to do that before it gobbles up too many humans and gets too powerful. Pretty standard stuff, actually.
Everybody got that?
Oh, and it already actually has gotten bigger enough to take over a building, eat a bunch of cops, since there's already like 6 other movie plots mixed in here, so they might as well do The Thing and The Blob too while they're at it. Of course, we find out most of this before Wisely does. He mostly just figures out there is a cat involved, and it is not a normal cat, so he decides he needs to get not a normal dog to fight it.
You gotta call the who? Paw Patrol, whenever you're in trouble.
Sure, so he picks up a big-ass mastiff named Lao Mao from a guy he knows who has all the dogs.
老陳，我想同你借一隻狗，要最兇惡、最善鬥嘅。照咁嘅情形睇啊，唯有派老布出馬至得啦。睇下，老布喺度休息啊。
Okay, yeah, so that really obvious, not great in terms of realism puppet dog head for the crash there. Funny, yes, but also that's pretty much the reason you're getting to see this movie on the show at all. See, I've mentioned this before, but there are actually quite a few killer animal type movies from China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, but I generally don't feature any of the ones made before the early to mid-2000s on here because it's usually really easy to either find out or just tell that there are basically 0 safety or cruelty avoidance standards being employed in the older ones. In some cases, like 1983's Calamity of Snakes, you're basically watching mass live animal torture and killing being conducted and filmed in place of special effects, and, you know, I gotta draw the line somewhere, guys. And that's just, no, I'm not gonna show that, I'm not gonna promote that, I'm not gonna put that on the series. By contrast, The Cat uses a mix of trick editing, not at all convincing but cleverly staged animal puppets, dummies, and even stop-motion effects for, as far as I can discern, pretty much any time we see the cat or Lao Mao do anything that an animal actor wouldn't do in a Hollywood production. They even use what's very clearly a puppet for the cat's emoting close-ups, and, you know, a lot of Western movies don't even do that. Now, I'm sure very little of what the real animals were compelled to do in this wasn't fun at all for them. I doubt animal actors enjoy any of this kind of thing, and now that we can have people in those mocap suits do anything more difficult than sitting and rolling over, we probably should. That's where I've kind of arrived at this point, but for 1992 Hong Kong, this is impressive restraint, especially considering that I'm like 70 to 80% confident that the human stuntman in this shot from The Seventh Curse was just like actually fucking dead right here. But yeah, so with mostly clear conscience, this would be the sequence that is the reason anyone remembers the cat. Wisely sets up a stakeout where the next magic alien thing in a museum is going to be. The General, who is the cat, shows up to get it. Wisely unleashes Lao Mao. Ladies and gentlemen, Hong Kong Wire Fu Dog vs. Cat Edition.
Round 1.
fight! Round 2, fight! Round 3, fight!
Why won't you die?
Finish him!
That's the best thing I ever saw.
Yeah, so the movie can't top that, but they're gonna try anyway. The cat loses its tail, so Wisely can analyze it and figure out the alien thing, and they come looking for it and eat up some time while the mushroom turns the last cop it didn't absorb into a zombie and makes it go steal weapons from a gang so it can get the cat and Wisely itself.
呢支就係密林357口徑，曲尺之中最勁，子彈太少。裝得快咪一樣好用。AKM， 共產黨最先進嘅手提輕機槍。USMG， 以色列官方武器，每分鐘1200發。呢支就係示威者，世界第一支輪盤散彈槍，一連12發。差佬又好，賊佬又好，同你老母收啦！ 呢個人，呢個人，我唔係人，我唔係人。
Why does a space mushroom that can take over entire buildings need a zombie with all the guns to go kill for it? Because the Terminator movies were really popular in Hong Kong, like crazy popular. But in terms of popular as a thing to copy and rip off, it was less the killer robot futuristic aspect than the unkillable guy with all the guns aspect that filmmakers seem to warm to. So just a ton of Chinese movies across all action and horror genres from this era have some version of a guy who can get shot a bunch and blown up, but not die relentlessly, coming at the good guys with a ton of guns, kind of reminiscent of the Terminator. But instead of a cyborg, he's a zombie or possessed or a vampire or alien or whatever the film's specific gimmick is a thing.
先生，外星殺手已經殺到嚟啦！
黃結尾，結尾！
唔好啊！
Anyway, since we're sprinting to the climax, the whole deal here, again, is they need to assemble the objects to power up the cat so it can defeat the monster, and apart from the very entertaining but narratively superfluous fight with the dog, the cat doesn't really get to do much in The Cat, and Wisely does even less somehow. He basically finds out this is going on, gets tangentially involved and sort of as a side player, and eventually drives the good aliens to the building where the fungus is to help them carry stuff around for the final showdown. It's not like nothing is going on, there's plenty of crazy shit going on. But the supposed main character of this franchise is just kind of here to tell us that it happened, which, granted, I guess is what I'm also doing, so yeah, here's how they end this.
So that happened.
咁你而家點返去啊？
淨係靠呢啲金光閃閃物質咯，將軍就可以帶我返去噶啦。將軍。
What the fuck?
Yeah, Wisely's expression really says it all there. Giant monster battle, cosmic explosion, magical cat, extraterrestrial life confirmed, and his reaction is just, huh, well, that was certainly a series of events in which a cat was notably, but not too notably involved.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
It's an ending, that's enough.
There's no real getting around the cat being an oddly subdued feeling movie, weighed against how batshit nuts it might sound on paper compared to the rest of Lam Nai Kai's filmography, long dismissed by Western critics as one of the most extreme directorial examples of producer pal Wong Jing's nakedly capitalist, no-success-like excess crowd-pleaser aesthetics. There's been infrequent attempts over the years to recontextualize the work of Lam and others like him in a more thoughtful cultural context, reframing the recurring themes of late 80s and early 90s Hong Kong metropolitan opulence being literally and figuratively torn apart by dark apocalyptic forces beyond reason or control, as obvious metaphors for the looming uncertainty of the then incoming transfer of power to China in 1997, which goes from subtext to text in The Cat.
係啦，你尋晚咁遲瞓，今朝又咁早起身，想做拿破崙一日瞓4個鐘啊？
如果拿破崙知道97就快到啊，佢一日只係瞓3個鐘頭啫。
I'm not 1000% convinced that explains all of his auteur eccentricities, but it probably informs a lot of them, and a certain level of resigned that if the party ain't over, it's gonna be soon does seem to linger over what should otherwise be, if not a more lighthearted movie, at least one where the ostensible hero does more than watch history happen in front of him, but maybe that was the vibe by then. On the other hand, when this is the stuff that happens in your less exciting movie, it's not like you've got that much to prove. I'm Bob, and that's The Big Picture. Schlocktober will continue next week.